Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. So let's start today's session. So today we are going to discuss about one new algorithm in machine learning, and that is logistic regression. Usually, this logistic regression, even though the name suggests that it is regression, logistic regression, this concept of logistic regression is being used for classification tasks. We'll see how. But let us go through or revise the concept of classification. In the problem of classification, what we do is we are having several categories, and based on the features of the examples in the training set, we try to categorize those samples in different classes, right? So in regression, we are having actually the continuous value as the output. But in classification, our hypothesis is giving us the output which is a discrete value. So let us see two examples of classification. In fact, we have gone through these examples earlier, but let us recall back. Classification of emails. So, if we want to find out which emails are spams and which emails are non-spams, then spam and not spam are two classes, and we are going to classify the emails as spam and not spam, right? So yes or no kind of a thing, whether the email is spam, yes or no. Okay. Similarly, we may come up with other application of classification like online transaction fraudulent detection. So whether the online transaction is fraudulent or not, yes or no. This is one more example of classification. Also, in medical diagnosis, if you have provided with certain data or the features related to a tumor, you may find whether the tumor is malignant or not, whether the tumor is malignant or benign. Malignant means cancerous, benign means normal, non-cancerous. So it is possible to find out or classify the tumor whether it is malignant or benign. Okay, so these are the problems of classification, and we are supposed to come up with some algorithm for this kind of a task of classification. Now we know that whatever in supervised learning, whatever is the training data set that is provided, that training data set is of the form x comma y. So x is the feature vector that is describing the sample, and y is the output, actual label associated. So in classification task, this y is actually the label or the class of this particular sample described with this feature vector x, right? So this output y, if I am having this label y either 0 or 1, right? So these are the classes, class 0 and class 1. So y belongs to 0 and 1, class 0 and class 1. We may say like this also, we may say usually that class 0 in such kind of two class classification, we usually say that class 0 is a negative class, whereas class 1 is the positive class. So if we talk about this classification of tumors, we may say that class 0 means negative class means the tumor is benign, non-cancerous. And if we say that class is 1, that means it is a positive class, then we say that the tumor is malignant. So usually this is just the, what we can say, this is just a kind of a notation that if we want to find out something, we say that it is a positive class. So if whatever we are finding out, if it happens that that exists with that sample, we say that it belongs to a positive class. Otherwise, if whatever we are trying to find, if that is not with the sample, we say that it is a negative class, right? So this is a usual consideration while dealing with or while labeling the classes. Okay. So in case of malignancy detection of the tumor, 0 is the negative class. That means the tumor is benign, whereas 1 is the positive class. That is the tumor is malignant. Okay. So if we are having two classes, right, for the given sample, then we say that it is a problem of binary classification because we are having two classes, right? But sometimes it may happen that we may have more than two classes as well. So if my output Y belongs to more than one classes, say 0, 1, 2, 3 are the class labels. So few samples may belong to class 0, few samples may belong to class 1, class 2 and class 3. So if this is the case, then we say that it is a multi-class classification problem. Right? And we are going to discuss about various different algorithms throughout this course, right, to classify the samples. Maybe it is a binary classification problem, or also we are going to talk about the multi-class classification problem, right? So I hope the idea is clear. If you have any kinds of doubts, please let me know. Otherwise, we are going to proceed. Have you understood what is binary classification and what is multi-class classification? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So let's proceed now. How to develop a classification algorithm. So, while developing a classification algorithm, let us try to apply whatever knowledge that we have so far. Okay. So let's assume. So let us consider that we are having a classification problem for finding whether the tumor is malignant or benign. Okay. So whether the tumor is malignant, yes or no. Okay. So we are having the class labels as 0 and 1. So if my tumor is not malignant, then we will say label. We have plotted now, or we are going to plot, right? On x-axis we are having tumor size and on y-axis we are having the label. Okay, but as this is a classification problem, we are having only two labels, 0 and 1. So we want to label whatever may be the tumor size. Based on that, we want to label the sample whether it is malignant or not, yes or no. So only two class labels are allowed, 1 and 0. right? Now, let us assume that we are having these samples. For example, these are the samples. Those are in our training data set. Okay, these are the samples in our training data set. Now, whatever knowledge that we have so far, what knowledge we have? We are having the knowledge like how to come up with a hypothesis for linear regression. So we know linear regression. Okay, so let us try to fit a line with respect to these samples. Right? We are having this training data set with us, wherein we are having right now 8 samples provided. So let us try to apply our hypothesis h theta x equal to theta transpose x, right, to training data set, and let us try to fit a line. So this hypothesis h theta x equal to theta transpose x will provide me some hypothesis. Let us assume that this is the hypothesis that we come up with. Okay, so this is a line that I may fit with respect to this data set. Are you getting me? Yes? Yes? Any doubt so far?
Yes.
Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Fine. So what we have done here is we are trying to fit a line with respect to the provided training data set, and let us assume that this is my hypothesis that I have come up with. Okay, now as I stated, what actually we want to do, we want to classify the samples in 2 classes with 2 levels only, 0 and 1. But if I consider this hypothesis, I may have, right, any value. So depending on whatever may be my sample, I will have some value associated, right? That might be between 0 and 1, or even that might be less than 0 or greater than 1. I do not know. Based on where my sample is in this space, I may have some value predicted by this hypothesis, right? And not necessarily this value is discrete. This value is continuous value because I am trying to apply regression here. Is that correct? So this hypothesis is going to provide me some value. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, if I want to come up with a classification algorithm, and if my hypothesis is giving me any value, right, that not necessarily a discrete value like 0 and 1, what I will do is, I will use some threshold. Right? So let us assume that we are having a threshold at 0.5. Right? We are having a threshold. We have selected this threshold at 0.5. So what we are saying, this is our h theta x. This line is our h theta x, our hypothesis. So now what we are doing is, or what we are saying is, if my hypothesis is giving me the value which is greater than or equal to 0.5, then I am going to predict that my sample is having the label y equal to 1. That means my sample is malignant. Otherwise, means if my h theta x is giving me the value less than 0.5, then I am going to predict that the sample is benign or y equal to 0. So what we are going to do here is, we have decided some threshold. So this 0.5 is the threshold. Okay. So associated with this 0.5 on my hypothesis here, this is my h theta x value. Okay. So this at this point corresponds to h theta x equal to 0.5. So what I'm going to do next is, I'm going to say that if my h theta x is greater than or equal to 0.5, so this region towards this, then I'll be predicting the samples lying in this region. Those are with label y equal to 1. So these samples are malignant. And if this is my threshold, if my h theta x is less than 0.5, so this region, if my sample resides in this region, then I'll say that my sample is benign, non-malignant. Right? So this is one way. What we have done, we have used this regression line with a threshold like 0.5, and what we are saying now, we are trying to convert our regression problem into a classification problem. So what we are doing here is, based on that threshold now, we are predicting whether the sample is benign or whether the sample is malignant. Can we do that? Yes? Can we do that?
Yes, ma'am. But will it be that much accurate?
Yes. So this is one solution that we have come up with, that we are using whatever knowledge we have come up with a line, right? And based on some threshold, we are trying to predict the class of my sample. Okay. So if the tumor size is large enough, that means if the tumor size goes beyond this, we may say that the sample is malignant, otherwise the sample is not malignant. This is one way. But now these were the samples in our training data set, and we have come up with this line. But now let us assume that our training data set is having one more sample like this. So now my training data set is having these 9 samples, 4 plus 4, 8 plus 1, 9 samples. Okay, so this sample is associated with some tumor size, right? So this sample is denoted with some tumor size, okay, and this sample is located somewhere here. Okay, so this is my training data set. Now, if such kind of a training data set I have, then if once again I go with my regression algorithm, then possibly I may come up with such kind of a line. That is my hypothesis now. Because I am having now, I have added this one training example in my training data set. So whenever I add this training example, obviously the parameter value theta will change. So this earlier I had this hypothesis and I thought that this can be done. Okay, because it is possible to find out whether my sample is malignant or not. Okay, but if I am having such kind of a sample also present in my training data set, then definitely I may come up with different value of theta, that is my parameter for defining the hypothesis. And if I come up with such kind of a different parameter theta, I may have a line like this, right? And if now I am having a line like this, what will happen? Once again, we are going to provide the threshold. So let us assume the 0.5 is the threshold. Now this time what will happen? This is the point on the hypothesis. Correct? So this point may relate with this tumor size. Okay. So what we are saying now is, the samples, those lie towards this side beyond this tumor size are malignant, and the points, those lie towards this side or having the tumor size less than this tumor size are non-malignant or benign, right? And if I look at now this threshold and whatever tumor size I have got, see, these samples in my training set were actually malignant. But now, with respect to this hypothesis, what has happened? Few of the samples are now predicted as malignant, but few of the samples are predicted as non-malignant. Are you getting me? Actually, those are malignant. But as I have come up with this hypothesis, this change of tumor size is there, and based on this threshold with respect to this h theta x as my hypothesis, what has happened? Even though my samples actually are malignant, based on this hypothesis, what will happen? These will be predicted as benign, non-malignant, right? And this should not be the case. The diagnosis is wrong in this situation, right? And this should not be the case. And if I have such kind of a training data set, then obviously it may happen. And that is why we are coming with a conclusion that applying linear regression to classification problem is in fact not a good idea, right? So application of linear regression to classification problem is actually not a good idea. So we need to come up with some algorithm specifically meant for classification, right? Are you getting me? If you have any kind of doubt, please let me know. Yes? Any doubts so far? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Fine. So this is why we should have different kind of algorithm than the regression algorithm, right, to solve the classification problems. Okay, now as I stated, see here, if we come up with such kind of a regression with the hypothesis h theta x equal to theta transpose x, right, as I mentioned, we may have a value of my hypothesis that is less than 0 also, or I may have the hypothesis value that is greater than 1 also, right? And in classification, what we are expecting is the discrete label, right? And that label should be 0 or 1. So at the most, whatever values we may have, we want those values to lie between the range 0 and 1, because these are our ultimate labels 0 and 1 for my binary classification, because there are two classes, right? And we do not want the hypothesis values to go beyond that, beyond 1, or even we do not want the values of h theta x to go down 0, right? And if we go with linear regression and a hypothesis like h theta x, then it may always happen that our values are not within this range of 0 and 1, but it may happen that my value may go below 0 or my value may go greater than 1. Okay, and what we want is, we want the hypothesis such that my h theta x will lie in the range 0 and 1, because our labels are 0, that means negative, and 1 means positive class. Okay, so earlier in linear regression, our hypothesis was of the form h theta x equal to theta transpose x. Right? This was our earlier hypothesis. Theta transpose x. This was our earlier hypothesis for linear regression. Now we are slightly modifying our hypothesis. So what hypothesis right now we have? We are defining a new hypothesis. H theta x is a function of theta transpose x. So instead of h theta x equal to theta transpose x, what we are saying here is, now my hypothesis h theta x is a function of theta transpose x, g of theta transpose x. Okay, now what this function g is? Usually this function g is of the form g of z is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus z. What this function is? This function g is of the form g of z equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus z. And this function is known as the sigmoid function or the logistic function. I'll repeat, this kind of a function g of z equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus z is known as the sigmoid function or a logistic function. Right? And if we try to apply now this function to our hypothesis, how my hypothesis will look like? See here, what is this? H theta x is the function of g, and the function is defined as g of z equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus z. So here my theta transpose x is nothing but this z. Right? So my hypothesis will become now h theta x equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus theta transpose x. This theta transpose x is z, right? So g of theta transpose x is nothing but 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus theta transpose x. Do you agree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Fine. So we have now come up with this new hypothesis. H theta x equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus theta transpose x. And this function g of z or this hypothesis is known as a sigmoid function or logistic function. And the reason why we have come up with such kind of a sigmoid function or a logistic function is like this. I'll be demonstrating it with the help of a picture. So if I try to plot this function g of z against z, right? So on x-axis I'll be having z, and on y-axis I'll be having g of z, right? So if I try to plot this function g of z, right, I'm having a plot something like this, right? So this plot, if you look at this plot, then we can observe here that this g of z value lies between the range 0 and 1. It will not go beyond 1 or it will not go down below 0. Always, if I go with such kind of a hypothesis or a sigmoid function, this is my sigmoid function. Okay, so this is a plot of my g of z. And if we plot this g of z against z, what happens is my g of z always lie between this range 0 to 1. Right? And that is what we wanted. We wanted our h theta x to be between this range of 0 and 1, because ultimately we are having two labels, 0 that is negative and 1 that is a positive class. So we wanted to have our hypothesis values to lie between 0 and 1. And that is why we have come up with this hypothesis H theta x. So if I go on increasing the value of z, so as my value of z goes to positive infinity, right? This hypothesis g of z will go to 1. Okay? At z equal to 0, see here, at z equal to 0, my hypothesis is at 0.5. If z is less than 0, and if it goes to negative infinity, then my hypothesis will go on decreasing, right? And it is near to 0 as we move towards negative infinity. Right? So this is how the nature of my sigmoid function is. And that is why we are going to pick this kind of a hypothesis, right, for such kind of a classification problem, binary classification problem. Are you getting me? Any doubt so far? If you have any doubt, please let me know. Yes? Any doubts? Or may I go to the next? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Got the concept?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine.
Ma'am, here will not change the value of theta, or we will take the theta like the previous, means linear regression.
See, obviously, we are supposed to find out the values of theta. Theta is our parameter.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct? No? So based on whatever is our training data set, we should come up with the value of theta. We are going to discuss the algorithm later. Let us first understand the theme behind. And
Okay,
then
okay.
we are going to discuss the algorithm, how to come up with this theta values, similar to that of we done for regression.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
this is just the kind of hypothesis that we are looking for. So obviously, we are going to build the algorithm. Interpret now our hypothesis. So before going for the algorithm, actually, let us try to interpret now this hypothesis that we have come up with. So this hypothesis we are going to interpret in terms of the probability. So H theta x, that is my hypothesis. So H theta x is giving me the probability that y equal to 1 on input x. So obviously, whenever I am having this sigmoid or the function like this, okay, for some value of z, I'll be having some value of g of z. So obviously, I'll be getting the value of this g of z between 0 and 1. So this g of z is nothing but my h theta x. So obviously my h theta x value lies between 0 and 1. And how we are going to interpret now this h theta x? We are saying that h theta x is the estimated probability that the label is 1, y equal to 1 for given input x. So, if we are talking about the problem of diagnosis of the tumor, whether it is malignant or not, y equal to 1 denotes the class that is positive. So my sample is malignant. My sample is having the cancer. Okay. So this hypothesis H theta x is giving us the probability that the sample is having the cancer. H theta x is giving us the probability that the label y is equal to 1 for the given input x. Let me illustrate this with one example. So let us consider once again the example that we are having right now, the running example. So what we have? We are having tumor size as the feature. And based on this tumor size, we would like to find out whether the sample is malignant or not. So as we have seen earlier, if we are having this feature tumor size, one feature, we are adding one more x0 to come up with theta transpose x. Correct? I am not going to repeat once again. We know that. So to come up with this theta transpose x, what we have done is we have added one more feature x0 and always that feature value x0 equal to 1. And the given feature that we have is tumor size. So my sample is now described with this feature vector capital X. So every sample is described with this feature vector x. Now, based on this feature vector x, I am going to compute now h theta x. That is my hypothesis, h theta x. And h theta x, suppose, is evaluated as 0.8. Let us assume that h theta x is evaluated as 0.8. So how I am going to interpret that value of 0.8 evaluated by this hypothesis h theta x? I will be saying that probability that y equal to 1 is 0.8. Probability that the sample has class 1 is 0.8. Or in other words, I may say that there are 80% chance to have tumor as malignant. Right? What I'll say? I'll say that there is 80% chance to have tumor as malignant given this feature vector x. Got it? So this h theta x is giving us the probability now. So we are trying to interpret this h theta x in terms of the probability that the class is 1. Okay, so whatever value that is being computed as the value of h theta x, that value is giving us the estimated probability for the class being 1. Is that correct? Got the concept? Yes? Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So now, normally, how we are going to write it? So, h theta x is equal to probability that y equal to 1 given x parameterized by theta. So, h theta x is interpreted as the probability that y equal to 1 given input x parameterized by theta. Okay, so if h theta x is equal to 0.8, then what we are saying is this is the probability that we are having the tumor as malignant because class 1 is malignant. So there are 80% chances that the tumor is malignant. So formally we say that h theta x is equal to probability that the output y is equal to 1 given input x parameterized by theta. Okay. Now, obviously, if this h theta x is giving me the probability that the label is 1, h theta x is giving me the probability that the label is 1, the class is 1. Okay. Applying the concept of probability. Applying the concept of probability. What we have? The probability that the class is 0 plus the probability that the class is 1 should be equal to 1, because we are having two classes. So probability that my sample is benign plus probability that my sample is malignant should always be equal to 1. Do you agree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So this h theta x is giving us the probability that class is equal to 1 given the input x parameterized by theta. So obviously I want to find out the probability that the class is 0 given the same input x parameterized by theta. That should be equal to 1 minus probability that y equal to 1 given x parameterized by theta. Is that correct? Simply what we have done, we wanted to find out this probability of y equal to 0. So simply what we have done is we have subtracted this term on the left hand side from the term in the right hand side. So 1 minus probability y equal to 1 will give me the probability y equal to 0. That's all. Got it? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts so far? Yes, any doubts so far?
No, ma'am.
Fine. So I think you must have understood the concept. So the next concept that we are going to discuss is regarding the decision boundary. Okay. So in the next session, we are going to continue with the concept of decision boundary. So once again, let us revise back what we have studied today. Okay. So we have started discussing about the classification problem. Okay. We initially tried to apply regression to solve the problem of classification, right? But we inferred that applying linear regression to solve a classification problem is really not a good idea. Okay, and that is why we started thinking on different parameters, or rather different concepts. And what we have found out is we should come up with a function that always lies between 0 and 1, right? And we have come up with such kind of a function h theta x of the form g of theta transpose x, right? And this g of theta transpose x or g of z is called as a sigmoid function or a logistic function, and this g of z is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus z. So obviously comes h theta x equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus theta transpose x. We have seen the nature of this g of z, okay, or rather this is now our plot of h theta x in terms of the sigmoid function. So this is how our sigmoid function looks like, and we have seen that whatever may be the value of z, g of z or my sigmoid function always lie between the values 0 to 1. So when my z is 0, g of z is evaluated as 0.5. As my z goes on increasing, so if z is positive, then my g of z value lies between 0.5 to 1. And if my z is negative, then the g of z value lies between 0 to 0.5. Right? So this is actually a good choice of hypothesis to come up with binary classification, because here we are having two classes 0 and 1. Right? That is why we have selected such kind of a sigmoid function to be the hypothesis. But please keep in mind that we have simply selected the nature of our hypothesis, the form of our hypothesis, the function 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus theta transpose x. But in the similar way, how we computed or how we come up with the algorithm to find out the optimal values of theta. Here also we are supposed to come up with the values of theta to fit our hypothesis with respect to the given data, right? And that is what we are going to discuss next in our algorithm, right? So the algorithm or the function with which we are trying to classify now is known as logistic regression, right? So though the name suggests that it is regression, it is a kind of classification, or we are trying to solve a classification problem, right? So you may relate like this. This hypothesis is giving us the value, any value between 0 and 1, right? So that might be any value, not necessarily a discrete value. It may be a value between 0 and 1. But by making use of this kind of a hypothesis, we are trying to predict the class of the sample, whether it is 0 or 1. That is a discrete class. And that is why we are saying that this is logistic regression is a classification algorithm and not the regression algorithm. Okay? To interpret our logistic regression hypothesis in such a way that h theta x, that is our hypothesis, is giving us the probability, and h theta x is giving us the probability that our class is equal to 1 for given input x. So we interpreted it like this: if h theta x is 0.8, then the probability that class is 1 is 0.8. So there is 80% chance that the sample belongs to class 1. Okay. So obviously we applied our knowledge of probability. Okay. And this is how we may come up with the probability that class is 0. So probability that my class is 0 given x parameterized by theta equal to 1 minus probability that class is 1. That's all. Okay. So based on this fundamental knowledge that we have gained today, the hypothesis, the sigmoid function, we are going to elaborate it further, and we are going to discuss the concept of decision boundary in the next class. Okay. So let's conclude the session today. Thank you.